Hi everyone. In today's video, I want to take a minute to talk about the nervous system. And I'll say my disclaimer now, I'm not a medical or psychological professional. And all of this I'm just inviting you to think about. So talking about the systems in the body, we have 12 primary systems in the body. And we have the circulatory, the respiratory, lymphatic, the immune system, endocrine system, and the others. And I'll list those in the more below. So if you're curious about what the 12 systems are, they'll be there. But the primary one we want to talk about today is the nervous system. And the nervous system is the part that it helps us really interact with the outside of the outer environment around us. So we see vibrating energy around us, and that vibrating energy goes into our eyes, and our eyes receive that energy, and it's sent to the brain through the optic nerve, and our brain tells us what we're seeing. Thing with hearing. There's vibrating energy around us, and our ears take that vibrating energy through the ear canal, and it's through the auditory nerve. It's sent to the brain, and our brain is telling us what we're hearing. Same thing with when we touch stuff. Through the nervous system, we touch something, and it takes that split second to go up through the nerves into our brain to tell us if something is hot, cold, smooth, bumpy, whatever it may be. But that's the reason why sometimes we touch something, and it takes that split second for our brain to realize that it's hot. So that's the nervous system. Also the same thing with their taste. So we taste things, and again, it has to go through the nerves to go to the brain to be told what we're tasting. The sense of smell is a little bit different. That goes straight to the limbic portion of the brain, and we'll get to that in another video because I have a lot to say about that. But thinking about everything around us, our nervous system has to bring in and process through the brain. And if you think about it, how many of us say, I can't quiet my mind down? Well, our minds are so active because we're processing everything around us. We are processing the foods that we're eating, if it's hot or cold, the taste. We're processing the air that we're breathing. That's all coming in through the systems in our body, the products we use, the environment, and think of like feng shui and like how things are hitting our energy body. Think about the sounds that are affecting us, the EMF these days, as well as, those are physical things. But if we go beyond that and think about what our own mind chatter, the limiting beliefs, the emotions, the self-talk that we have, all of that's going on in our brain, and our nervous systems are completely overloaded with all of this that is happening to process. The nervous system is just taking in so much information, having to process everything. So I did a quick search, and if you think about about 100 years ago, there was less than 10 neurological disorders. Today, there's over 600. And that's just crazy. But if you think about it, it explains how our nervous systems, the nerves are being overloaded with all of this input that we're having to process through the systems in our body. So now if you think about it that way, so thinking about the cycle of energy, and we'll talk more about that, but we have the 12 systems in our body. And if you think about it, think of each of those 12 systems getting 10 units of energy every day. So every system gets 10 units of energy. But for us to go about our daily lives, the nervous system sometimes is going like, hey, wait a minute, I need some extra energy here because I have to process all, Diane's going through today. She got hit with some news that she wasn't used to. She went traveling. She was exposed to all of this different environment than what she was used to. She's listening to different music. She's talking to a whole bunch of different people. And my nervous system, or our nervous systems, would have to process all of that. But it is more than what the nervous system was originally really designed to do. So it started to take little bits of energy, let's say, from the other systems. And like I said, this is just how I equate it in my mind. And it kind of makes sense if you think about it, because our systems need a certain amount of energy to do their function. But by doing that, it's taking that little bits of extra energy from the other systems in our body. So the weaker system in my body would probably, be affected the most. And for me, it was like digestive system. If you know my history, it was like I had digestive disorders. So when energy was being taken, like one unit was taken from all of the other systems to help the nervous system, my digestive system was already weak as it was. So when that one little unit of extra energy got taken from it, that is more likely that I'm going to have more issues in my digestive system. So speaking of all of that, so when people say it's good to meditate, it's good to do yoga, it's good to be mindful, The thing with all of those tools and many of the tools that we're going to talk about in future videos, it's basically bringing our energy back to us. Because anytime we think about something, just think about yourself throwing a fishing rod out there. If you start thinking about somebody else, you're throwing your energy to that situation. And then if you think about, you watch the news and you start throwing your fishing lines out to all of those different tidbits of news that you're hearing, your energy is getting spread out to not where it needs to be, if you know, to be mindful for that time for yourself. So this is why it is so important to try to be mindful throughout the day, and just try not to send your energy out to every place else, and take some time to do like some deep breathing, like I said, some of the other tools that we'll talk about here. But this is why it's so important to do all of these tools, to be aware of the energy system that we have and keep it as calm as we can. So hopefully that gives you a little something to think about today, and I will see you in the next video. Namaste.